Yeah, hello students. You're welcome once again to section 5 of unit 4 and as its objectives. Let me indicate that by the end of this session, we expect you to be able to do the following. 1. Explain placement service. 2. Identify the types of placements. 3. Discuss the characteristics of educational placement in secondary schools. And 4. Discuss the characteristics of educational placement in secondary schools. Now, as the definition of placement, placement simply refers to assigning an individual to a position he or she fits best, taking into consideration their abilities. And according to Chahan, that is assigning of a worker to the job for which he is judged best fitted. Now, for its further explanation, let me indicate that placement service is designed to help students choose and make use of opportunities available within the school or outside the school with the aim of improving or further their social or academic position or securing employment status. Thus, in the service, students are really assisted or helped to enter into further education, a new class, or take up a new subject relevant to their future plans, or enter into an occupation. Now for Scherzer and Stone 1996. For them, they talk of two forms of placement, namely in-school placements and out-school placements. Peku, on his side, categorizes placement into three, namely educational, vocational, and social. But for the sake of our discussions, we shall use the categorization by Peku. Yeah, so types of placements according to Peku, educational placements. Now, this is placement with regard to educational or academic issues. Now, for its explanation, this explains that in the school setting, counselors working in collaboration with the head and teachers may place children in new class depending on their academic performance or some academic difficulties they may be experiencing. For example, a student in SHS1 who has really undergone counseling for an emotional or mental problem may be advised to repeat the class so as to cover all the lessons he actually lost. More often than not, counselors really help students to change the subjects or course they are pursuing when there is enough evidence to show that the students will benefit more from the new subjects or course in terms of academic performance and career planning. Now, educational placement, which also involves helping students to move from JHS to SHS and SHS to tertiary institutions. Here, senior high school students are to be actually assisted to enter the universities, polytechnics, other teacher training colleges, and tertiary institutions. Under this circumstance, the counselor helps them to choose tertiary institutions they can go for further education after taking into consideration the course they read, the ability, interests, and the appropriate personality traits to pursue. In fact, the counselor needs a lot of student appraisal data to do such placements. Now, characteristics of educational placements in the senior high school. The first one says that educational placements affect all students. This actually explains that educational placement is a continuous process that actually assists students to adjust to new forms, classes, or the next school. This is because teachers and administrators are very much interested or concerned with adjustments of students in their present class or forms, and also prepare them for the next phase of education based on information they really collect on each student. The next is articulation between schools placements. This also explains that, or this is a situation where a student is assisted to progress from one school to another, and to discharge this function successfully, the cooperation of the sending school and the receiving school is very much critical to facilitate the process. The next is placement in training institutions. Students may be divided into three categories, and these are those who really pass their final exams, for example, WASSCE, and enter tertiary institutions. The next is those who really pass their exams and seek employment. The last one is those who really drop out of school to work or seek employment. Now, these characteristics also explain that some students will seek help to get admission to some technical or professional institutions, while others may really need on-the-job training. The services involved in the placement process should be concerned with providing information, counseling, and placement in accordance with the needs and interests of individual students. Again, placement in co-curriculum and community activities. Some of the educational opportunities which may serve students are found outside the school's instructional program, and others really exist beyond the four walls of the school. Now, these co-curricular activities offer opportunities for exploring students' interests and abilities. Therefore, it becomes as a responsibility of the school to identify such co-curricular activities in the school and community, which really offer desirable experiences for the students. Once these activities have been explored, the school needs to recognize the functions of placements. Now, the next is vocational placements. And for vocational placements, simply deals with career or vocational matters. The school counselor or guidance coordinator helps students to seek employment, whether full-time or part-time. This also explains that counselors in various schools often do help students to seek part-time jobs, which they can do during vacation. In tertiary institutions, counselors may also take up responsibilities of arranging for internships for students in the various professions, and in most cases, this arrangement is done by the faculties or departments of the institutions. Vocational placements, like educational placements, requires appraisal data and vocational information from the community. Now, characteristics of vocational placement service. The first one says placement activities should be well coordinated. For those, the job placement services should be well coordinated to avoid unnecessary duplications of services. In doing so, the teacher, employer, community agency, and job placement personnel should occasionally hold meetings to discuss problems of job placements. The next is publicizing the placement services. And this one also explains that the students could be given information related to educational and vocational opportunities. These services may be publicized through handbooks, school magazines, teaching in class, and career conferences, use of audio, visual aids, and meetings with employers, among others. The next is cooperation with community agency. This one also explains that if placement service is to be made effective and successful, then it is important to join the cooperation of various community agencies. And the next is providing reliable information. This one also explains that the school should provide reliable job information to the students. This information should include, among other things, qualification, requirements, condition of service, and job description. The students need information to make a decision for themselves. Now, the next is using information about peoples. Here also explains that the service should rely on only information about the peoples, and in doing so, the service should rely on the information collected in the school after collecting reliable data about students. Now, the last is the providing counseling services. And this also explains that regular counseling services should be made available to those who really need them. It may be actually organized on individual or group basis, and all these are really needed as effective for the beneficiaries of the students. Now we have the social placement, maybe the last lesson, and this form of placement has to do with social issues. Here, students are really placed in special groups with the aim of helping them acquire some sort of special social skills, which are readily manifested in the group. Now, for this, says that, or an example could be cited of a debating club, and this can readily be thought of since it offers the form of making speeches. Therefore, a student who really needs to learn to speak up, especially in public, can be placed in such a club. Thank you.